Good afternoon, everybody. It is a hot summer. Well, it feels like summer, even though it's technically not summer, but it is May 27th. My name is Dan Harrison. I'm your host. You are here with us at NuPath Live. This is our tradition, our practice, at least well over 100 episodes now since we started at the beginning of this miserable past year, known as the pandemic. Things are looking up, though, and we are in a good mood for so many reasons. First of all, let me say that this is we are approaching an important weekend because this is Memorial Day, and Memorial Day is Monday, but Memorial Day is a holiday that we as a country have adopted. It only became an official holiday in 1971, which is kind of an interesting thing, but it was a tradition that began after the Civil War as people found ways to remember the fallen, people that have served our country, given their lives for our country to defend democracy and freedom. And it's a time when we try to remember our fallen heroes. But as I said, it's also become known unofficially as the beginning of summer, even though summer is not doesn't happen until June 21st, which is the equinox, summer equinox. So happy Memorial Day, everybody! And this is certainly a much more joyful way to kick off summer than we were talking about a year ago. And I not to be somebody, I people in my life joke with me that I'm always looking at time, a week ago we were this, or a week from now we'll be doing this. And I realized that it's something my dad used to do all the time. And so I think about things in sort of these compartmentalize and think about passage of time as it marks something important. And so when I think back to what was going on a year ago, it helps us to know just how far we've come and how far this organization and the great men and women who work for NuPath, the clients that we support, the families, our community, what we've all been through as we've slogged our way through the uncertainty and anxiety. It's hard to even imagine now. We've been talking so much about rates of vaccines and vaccine hesitancy and all the things that we've been dealing with since January or whenever the vaccines first became available, things that none of us had ever even talked about or thought about in our life before. And so it's just been uncharted territory for us all as we've endeavored to get through to where we are today, or where we'll be on Saturday when the statewide mask mandate is rescinded. That's a huge step. It was a year ago or so that the governor, in a press conference, laid out the plan that the Commonwealth had developed for how businesses could begin to reopen. And I remember looking at all of these phases, phase 1, A, B, C, I forget exactly now. I'm trying to forget, probably. It's something that we've been so embroiled in. But thinking about all that was before us as a state, as a country, as the human population on this planet Earth, but at NuPath, how we were going to begin to think about opening up safely. And I think it was then a couple more months before we were able to begin to welcome some of our first clients back and our staff that came back in to support them. But for many people, we're still, they're just recently back, or there's some even that haven't yet been able to come back for one reason or another, and we're hoping that continues. Of course, June 15th, the governor has told us that he's going to withdraw the state of emergency that he announced well over a year, back in March of 2020, and for people who are vaccinated, this world's going to be returning back to a much more normalized place, we hope. And so if you're out there and have not yet received both of your vaccines, we urge you to do that. It's a way that we can keep one another safe and hopefully return to much more normal rhythms as we go into this summer, and it couldn't have come at a better time. We all know what's next. And I was thinking we should have adopted some sort of music. Do you know, for 12 weeks now, we have welcomed Brett Reily to this hallowed space, and he has helped us roll the Back to Better basket. Welcome, Brett Reily.
Thanks, Dan. Good to be here.
I know this is the highlight of your week. You talk about it all the time. What are you going to wear? How are you going to? How are you? I hope you do all right, which you always do so well.
I gotta get that
we're
done.
gonna have you roll that back to better squeaky basket. Well, I guess it's the second to the last time, because next week will be the grand prize drawing, which you will tell us about once again, because I just like hearing it from your lips. But and then after that, you and I are going to have a little chat about some other things. You will be our official guest, so I won't have to rush you off camera. You'll get to stay for a good another 8 to 12 minutes, and we'll just relish in all kinds of frivolity. Okay, let's get that basket rolling.
So I can tell you, Dan, over 70% of our employees are in this basket right now. Whoa. Over 70%. We just hit that mark. So thanks to the staff that have gotten both vaccinations. I mean, it's because of them that we're getting back to some of this new normal, or like we like to say, back to better. So on to the Back to Better basket.
All right.
Cue the squeak.
Is this a promotion for Diet Coke? You guys see the product placement right next to your basket there. Oh. We should have them pay us for this promotion.
New Boston's own, New Boston Street's own Kern Mondesir.
Kern Mondesir. Oh, that's excellent. Good to hear that Kern was vaccinated. Now, so Kern, you know the drill. You'll be getting electronic Visa gift card for $100. Brett, tell us what next week is. It's something we've never done in the history of NuPath before.
Yeah, pretty amazing. It's drawing for free health insurance for an entire year.
Wow.
So, and if you're on the plan, although we have a good plan and we do pay for a significant amount of that plan, it's still expensive. So that's really exciting. Really exciting.
It's terrifically exciting, and I can't wait to see. I think we should do something with that staff person. Maybe we should have them come on the next week and just interview them and see what they did to celebrate their outstanding good fortune. Well, we'll have to wait one more week until we know the answer to that question. Brett, your job is Vice President of Marketing and Communication. When I took over this position in 2013 as a new, and at the time, much more fresh face than I am now, these many years later, I had this idea that I felt like marketing and communication was so important, because you could be doing the greatest things on earth. You can, have great policy. You can provide great services for people. But if you don't have a way of telling your story, it's like that thing of, like if a tree falls in a forest and no one hears about it, is it really falling kind of thing. Your experience has been in, marketing, advertising, communication, all of that. Well, not to talk about your path here, but how do you see our communication and marketing over this past year being important, and how would you grade us on how we've done those things?
Well, I mean, it's not an easy question to answer. I don't think for a lot of people, because it was really uncharted territory. But I believe we did really well in that we had always communicated electronically, or used video, or used technology to promote NuPath and communicate with our staff, communicate with families. So it almost felt like we were set up for what was about to come. Certainly, we didn't know we'd be into this for quite some time now. So
for over 100 episodes.
Over 100 episodes. But it really, it allowed us a platform that was fun, engaging. It allowed us to see staff, clients, families in real time, see their faces. And, we do communicate using email and other means of electronic communication and text, but to see people's faces is what really connects us. So I think we've done really well. As you said, I think it was last episode that I don't think anyone's ever turned us down, when we've asked somebody to come on, and not everyone's been thrilled to do it because it's a little unnerving, but part of the culture at NuPath is people dig in and they participate and they join for the right reason. So anyway, I don't know if that completely answers your question, but I think we've had, in the face of much sadness over the course of however many months, I think we've done a good job of trying to keep people's spirits lifted and be completely transparent.
I'm always the kind of guy, well, you know me, I get bored easily. I'm always worried that other people get bored easily. I've seen them get bored easily. You know what it's like when you're on a Zoom call, and pretty soon you can tell people are with you, pretty soon they're like down looking at their phones and so on. And so I'm always thinking, what do we got to do to change things up? Now, when we started this over a year ago, we were doing our town halls and our Unity forums. I think we were doing them on a Tuesday and maybe Friday. And the Friday one was, more casual. It was like talking with other people. The Tuesday one was much more the technical stuff, because people we were all craving information. We just didn't know what was going on, what was happening. People were terrified. So in some of those calls, and they lasted, like we went on and on, 45 minutes, even approaching us. We'd have 200 or 300 people would watch and be present. And then we began to see some of that taper off the audience, and then we decided we were going to do it just once a week. We cut it down to a half hour. I say to you, our mission is not about producing great content like, a Netflix or a Hulu, or it's not even accurate, because Hulu I don't know if they do original content, but point is, that's not our calling. That's not what we're here to do. So we're not necessarily trying to think up ways to increase the audience or to maintain us. We want to maintain the connection, though, that we built with some people. And I look at the numbers every week, people that have seen it, that watch it later on YouTube. I hear comments that, it's been as high as 200. It dips down to 170. Last week we were about 132 or so people watched it. And so it's trying to make the decision of whether or not has this served its purpose as we are beginning to reopen, or is this something we'd like to maintain as a way to stay connected? And that's just the question that I think we're pondering right now, because I have other things I could be doing with my time. You've got other things you could be doing with your time. On the other hand, when we do reach out, or when we do these shows or these broadcasts, those are 132 people that otherwise wouldn't have had the connection. The staff that we ask feel a real sense of joy about being able to participate, as you said. And so it's really trying to take that whole picture into account, isn't it? It's knowing where the sweet spot is. And I don't know if that was a question, but.
Yeah, well, we talk each week about, how does each week's episode align with our mission, and we talk at happier, healthier, more fulfilling for people living with disabilities, and I think the idea for the Staff Sensations series was that our mission impacts our families, the people that come to our programs, and most particularly our staff. And if we can create moments that are more fulfilling for them, where they're more engaged, they're part of what we do each week, then it aligns with our mission. And I think that's sort of where that was born from. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about sort of a continued staff sensations celebration, if you will, or summer sensations. And we're going to be having some events over the next month most particularly in June. Our human resources department, and big props to Anna in the HR department, has started to populate a calendar of events where we'll celebrate our staff and our clients at different locations. Did you want to touch a little bit on that, Dan?
Yeah. It's kind of it's related. I was going to get to it. The idea of finding connection points with our families, with our staff, it's so important to me, and especially, past year when we haven't been able to do the in-person sorts of things. But my challenge to the team was I wanted to create some just fun opportunities for people to come together again and kind of, experience NuPath in a kind of a fun way, So talk to us about what some of those things might be next month.
Yeah, and to that point, we've had a couple of events already. We've had some in-person business meetings, and we've had some in-person board meetings, and you go into them a little scared, and you come out of them so happy and thankful that you did it, and they feel good. And I think that's the point, is that we want to give people more of an opportunity to congregate, but do it comfortably and do it safely, and feel appreciated, because we do appreciate everything that the staff's doing.
Yes, we do.
The short list was, and there's some funny names in here, but I'll keep them generic, is we have cupcake trucks and Cookie Monster trucks. There's a brunch celebration planned. We've got our longevity awards planned for the middle of the month. On the 16th, it looks like we're going to be having a longevity award celebration under the tent at New Boston Street. I saw an empanada truck in there as well. I don't know where Anna found that, but and pizza deliveries and all types of celebrations. I counted just over 10 in June alone, and we're working on really populating the entire summer. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I don't see a kegger. I don't know if people still call it that, but I was trying to think of something that was just on the border of I don't know, being inappropriate, made in poor taste, being something that human services don't normally do. We're in the middle. We talked about this workforce crisis that we're experiencing. We had that whole initiative and we're still doing it, but to try to encourage staff to refer people and sort of a sign-on bonus. I want people to, you spend so much of your life at your work, at your job. I want people to be, to know that we care about them, and that we can do that in lots of different ways. We can get a truck to come by and feed people lunch for, a few $100s. It doesn't really translate into money that would be, I mean, we couldn't, sometimes we'll hear staff say, well, I'd rather get a raise than, have an empanada. But the thing is, it would give everybody like a 2-cent raise or something, but there are ways that we could practically, infuse the workday, with a little bit of fun and something just to share, to express our appreciation. Our staff have just been tireless heroes over this past year, and it's made us so proud, to continue NuPath's mission and high expectation for service delivery. Anyway, we've probably talked too long already. I got to bring Mike MacIver on. He's gonna share a little bit about what he's been doing, and I think I heard he brought his guitar along. So another huge talent. Brett, thank you for all you're doing for us, for representing us in such a great way, and for doing your Back to Better basket better than any, I almost said bastard, could ever do, but I guess I just did say it is not going to be bleep. I was just looking for alliteration. Okay, this is silly. Thank you, Brett. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Okay.
We'll look forward to next week.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Right. Okay, something about NuPath Live and what people, sometimes enjoy is that everything doesn't go according to plan. And I think secretly sometimes people watch just to see if we make mistakes, which you don't have to watch very long with me, and you'll see one or two. But my next guest is going to make this a truly memorable episode. And you know him, many of you, most of you, Mr. Mike MacIver. who there he is. And hi, Mike.
Hello, Dan.
Now you're an old pro, a seasoned pro at what you're doing, because this is at least your second time joining us.
It is.
I asked you if you could remember when it was, and we don't yet have a way of. I was saying to Brett before this, we need to start indexing what every episode was about, because I'll think, oh, when did that person come on? And it's if you look at our YouTube channel, you have to scroll way down to see them all. We've got that many on, but you thought it was last September.
Yeah, I think it was around September.
You look great. You made it through. We made it through. You're vaccinated. You're back at the Martin Center. You were up at, what did you say, Middlesex Ave for a while?
Yeah, I was up at Middlesex for a year. So I was fortunate to keep working through the pandemic. And Dan, I want to thank you for providing the opportunity to get the vaccine. I couldn't have been happier when I found out we were going to get vaccinated and things were going to start back up again. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome, but it wasn't me you think. I mean, we're lucky to live in a state that really prioritized and valued the importance of it. Massachusetts is really doing us all really proud as far as being a top performer in the nation among states. We have met all of our goals. 99% of people who receive a first vaccine come back for a second, which is, I think, the highest, if not among the highest of all states. It's so good to hear that you were somebody. It doesn't surprise me, Mike, knowing you, that you were right at the front of the line. You kept working through the entire time. More than that, Mike, you were willing to consider being redeployed someplace else. Because do you remember when this all happened and you were given some choices? I suppose you were, about where you wanted to go. Were you probably were nervous? I mean, I don't know if you were nervous. But it wouldn't have been your first choice to go and work someplace else. You had your routines. You knew what you all your friends, clients that you would work with for years. What was the experience like working up there at one of our residential programs for the year?
Well, it was different, of course. Smaller staff, smaller group of people, and I had to get used to the way the culture of a group home versus that of the day program. Obviously, they're structured a little bit differently. So I just paid attention and tried to fit in.
That's a great rule for life. Pay attention and try to fit in. It's called emotional intelligence. So what this number, I always a little hesitant to ask questions. I don't know what the answer is going to be, but hey, that's what NuPath Live's all about. What would you say that some of the biggest differences are between the culture of the residential versus the day? Like, what did you find being some of the bigger differences?
Well, generally speaking, the group homes are the homes to the individuals. So at the day program, we structure the activities a little bit more. And at the group home, they have a little bit more leisure time. You get to see their personalities a little bit more. What do you like to do when someone's not setting up a game for you? And I work different hours. I mean, I worked the days after a while, but I worked some nights too, and that was different.
Yeah, I bet it was.
People at home at night.
Did the schedule seem to be, because it's a different kind of pace, isn't it, too? When you're working in the day programs, you've got, you're going to have 80 individuals all around you, people, that need, coverage or attention one way or another. When you're in a home setting, it's just, it's the 5 people, maybe 4 or 5 people that live there. What was it like, the pace?
Oh, it was a lot different, but there was never a shortage of things that needed to be done. There were different things. They weren't necessarily programming things, but there was they needed a lot of assistance with their ADLs and whatnot, cooking, laundry, cleaning. I did a lot of snow shoveling.
Did you? I bet they miss you. I bet they were sad to see you go.
Well, I still see all the individuals at that house here at the day program, so that's good.
Mike, I've got on my notes that you've been here it says you'll celebrate 15 years in February, but that doesn't seem right to me. It seems longer. Is it 15 years in February?
Officially as a NuPath employee, yes. Prior to that, I was a state worker assigned to what we called CMARC.
I
So
remember that.
basically, yep, I was a CMARC worker for years. And then I left and filled in for a school teacher who was tenured, and he came back, wanted his job back. And I picked up some landscaping and some relief hours from Dan Lannon.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came back full time.
We're glad you did. And so that means altogether, you've been here well over 15 years. I know I've known you. You've been here as long as I've been here, and I'm, pushing on 18. We only have a few minutes left, but I wonder what it was like for you, because you're very active in playing a band with some of the other guys that we know, John Lannon, Jeff Lyman. I'm trying to think of who all. But what was it like during this? I mean, you probably missed it, I would think. I mean, you're not having a chance to go out and play, and what did you do instead?
I stayed home. I did the Zoom group for NuPath for a little while.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I heard that.
Once a week, and that was it. You're right. There was no live music.
So what does all this mean for you and getting back into the music scene? Are you after Saturday when we are able to get rid of the masks, and do you think that you're going to start to get back out there on the circuit? And
the phone's been ringing off the hook.
I bet it has.
Yeah, the second everything changed, I got about 20 messages now I have to look at when I go home. It's crazy.
That is so awesome. Are you serious? That's great. 20?
Wow.
And so these are people requesting to have you come and to schedule you for, some event or something, or
the bands I already work with or worked with that are booking things.
That's promising, because that just shows us that we're going to be coming back to life pretty quickly. We won't have to, this maybe won't be dragging out for months and months while we ramp up. It sounds like, at least in some industries, it's gonna pop back pretty fast. Well, Mike, you know what I'm going to ask you? Do you happen to have your guitar right there that you can maybe play us a little something?
Yeah, I'll do
off
something.
The summer on a good note, and get this thing get us back to normal. All right, Mr. Mike MacIver.
Back to better.
Unplugged.
All right, this song was done by Emmylou Harris.
Amazing, Mr. Mike MacIver. Thank you so much for taking us out on that positive note. So Wade, we're going to start back. We're going to enjoy this weekend. Look forward to the mask mandate being rescinded. Everybody, be safe still though, and whatever you do, come back to us next week. All right, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. We got this. Bye, y'all.